Hi, and welcome for this last episode on my Re-Sound Designing Hollow Knight series. Today we're going to work on our boss sound effect when he lands on the ground. We will give more depth to our final explosion. Then we will create our slow motion impact sound effect, and finally pan all our sound sources according to the visuals. And then it's done. It's the end. Let's go. To make our impact sound effect, it would have been nice to have some stones, but I don't. So I've decided to defrost my freezer and to use pieces of ice instead, which I've put in a towel. As you can see, I've already isolated one hit here. It's not at the good frame yet, but for now it doesn't matter much. I will change the pitch a bit. I think it's too high for now. I'm also compressing it because it feels a bit loose. And now I will adjust it on the timeline. Oh yeah, I need to tell you more about this track I called Rumble. OBS crashed as I was recording the sequence and I couldn't recover it, so I will just show you briefly what's inside. I used a pink noise generator, to which I've added a low pass filter and a really indecent boost around 90 Hz. And since it wasn't enough, I've done something else. That's something I've experienced a few times already. I'm putting a plugin, in that case it's a tape effect from Waves, which has plenty of different uses possible, particularly in music production, but it's not the topic of this video. My point is, if you put a plugin without bypassing it and yet without activating anything on it, it changes your sound anyway because it's going through it. And sometimes that's enough. In my case, it added more harmonics in the low mids and almost completed that rumble effect I wanted to create. So after that, I finally added a heavy compressor once more, and it sounds like this. I'll put some of our rumble at the end too, and we'll adjust it in a few minutes. We can focus on our final explosion. Let's find another ice sample for the end. Okay, the last one is actually perfect. I'll create a new track that I will call Explosion and drag that sample here. Okay, that's a start. I've improved a bit the volume automation curve of our low rumble. It's now stopping just before the final explosion, for which we can add some of our squishy sounds. Nice. Now what I'd like to do is to add more presence to the reverb at the end. Yes. getting back now to our scream track. We'll put one sample when it gets touched and another one when it explodes. We can make visible the automation curve for our reverb send, and I'll make the tail a bit bigger for the final breath. Let's see. I will group these tracks and create a bus for our sound effects. So you can see that now we have a bus for the music and another one for the sound effects. Now I'll create the markers with our hits. So we see that we need 3 of them. The idea is to cut the high frequencies of both the music and the sound effect buses when the player gets hit, and to take a few seconds to recover the entire frequency spectrum. So I'm creating a new submaster bus on which I will put my EQ effect, which will be a dynamic bandpass, widening until recovering all our frequency range. Let's find where our frequency range starts. Okay, it's here. Really muffled. I will assign my MIDI controller to this parameter to tweak it manually and record an automation. I just put it a bit later. Now we'll just bypass the EQ at the end of the movement. Maybe I'll show you how it looks like in action. So you see the high frequencies are jumping in a very brutal way. So what we can do is to make the frequency parameter visible and to make our band sliding a bit to the higher frequencies. Let's see. Okay, that's much better. I just make the curve a bit smoother here. A bit of cleaning too. We can reduce the number of points also and create an automation item that will duplicate. I like the second one because we hear the impact from our ice track. So I'd put it also on the 2 others. Now let's do the very repetitive work. Basically, I just took each sound on each track and I checked if it were properly placed on the left-right balance. So I'm just putting it really fast because it's not very interesting to look at. But that was necessary. And now it sounds like this. Well, we made it through. I'd like to thank you if you've been watching it from the beginning, even partially, I mean. Any feedback is always welcome. It's taking me more time to actually do the videos than to do my actual work on it. But I wanted to try this format, and I might do others like this, but on other video games. I'd also like to develop other formats in the future for this channel, so don't hesitate to subscribe if you're curious about what's happening here in the future, and see you next time.